Hello, my name is Jessica and I am a 37-year-old woman who has been happily married to my husband David for the past 10 years. My relationship with David has always been one of pure love and trust. This also bled into our family's lives as we were both loved dearly by each other's families. His parents always treated me like I was their child, and my parents did the same for David. The only person I could never win over was David's sister, Sarah. My relationship with my sister-in-law, Sarah, had always been complicated. From the moment I entered her family, there was an undeniable tension between us. She was the polar opposite of me in many ways, outgoing, impulsive, and always seeking attention. I, on the other hand, was reserved, cautious, and preferred a quieter existence. Our personalities clashed, and it seemed like we were destined to be at odds with each other. Every time that we had a family event, Sarah and I would get into a heated argument about something. One year it got so bad that I stopped going to family events when I knew she would be there. My husband, David, was always by my side, and I'm so grateful for that. Whenever Sarah got too out of hand, David would come to my rescue and put Sarah in her place. This only made Sarah hate me more, yet I tried to be good to her whenever we met. I avoided arguments with her to the best of my ability, and over the past years our relationship got slightly better. Recently, my husband David had been offered the opportunity to work abroad for a couple of months. Coincidentally, my sister-in-law was in a tough spot financially. David asked me if I would be okay with his sister staying with me while he was away. Babe, I've been thinking about what you said about Sarah staying with us while you're abroad. I get that she's going through a tough time, but I have some concerns.
I know it may seem like a difficult decision, but hear me out. It could be a chance for us to rebuild our relationship with Sarah. Plus, it would give her a place to stay without worrying about finances.
I get your point, but you know how strained things have been between us. Are you sure it's a good idea to have her living under the same roof?
Well, I believe this could be an opportunity for us to reconcile. We could set boundaries and communicate openly. It's not going to be easy, but it could help us move forward.
I want to trust your judgment, but I'm scared about potential fights. We've worked so hard to build our own lives together.
I know, and I am just as worried as you are. But I believe that we're strong enough to face any challenges that are thrown our way. We can set some ground rules and maintain open communication with Sarah. I'm sure it will help.
Okay, sweetheart. If you genuinely think this is the right thing to do, then I'll support your decision. I also agreed because deep down I believed that maybe, just maybe, we could find common ground and create a bond as sister-in-law. I wanted her to see that despite our differences, I still cared for her. After all, she was my husband's baby sister that he loved so dearly. I wanted to extend that same kind of care to her to show her that we could overcome all our differences and enjoy each other's company. It started innocently enough. I offered her our spare bedroom. Sarah settled into the spare room and I made sure to make her feel welcome. I even let her borrow some of my clothes and jewellery, thinking it would be a bonding experience. Unfortunately, it did nothing for our relationship. Sarah continued to ignore my existence. Whenever she did acknowledge me, she would be rude and indifferent towards me. I let it go, thinking that relationships required time and effort to change for the better. I continued to put up with her behaviour toward me. I did not tell my husband David about it because I did not want him to act on it. If he scolded Sarah for her behaviour towards me, she would only treat me worse. I could barely put up with her cold behaviour towards me, and if it got worse, I was afraid I would have to kick her out of my house. I took up all the household chores, I cleaned and cooked meals for both of us. I never asked her to contribute in any way, neither around the house nor financially. She was practically living for free and being treated like a queen. One day, I informed Sarah that I would be going on a trip with my friends during the weekend, so she would have the house to herself. For the first time since she moved in, her eyes lit up with joy. It hurt me that the thought of me being away brought so much joy in her, but I let it go and chose to focus on the trip I had ahead of me. I left for the trip and had a great time. I actually dreaded coming back home to Sarah, but I told myself to be brave and walk into the house and greet her with a smile. I walked in and greeted her with a smile and was met with a sneer in return. Choosing not to let it bother me, I made my way to my room so I could unpack and lie down for a while. While unpacking my things, I couldn't help but feel like there was something wrong. I stood by my dresser and scanned the room. While it looked untouched to the normal eye, I knew my room like the back of my hand. I was very particular about the way things were kept. A lot of the things in my room looked like they had been moved around. I began to feel my heart race with panic. My first instinct was to check my jewellery box. You see, I have this necklace that's a family heirloom. It belonged to my great-great-great-grandmother, who then passed it to her first daughter, and so the tradition was born. The necklace was inlaid with many precious stones and made with pure silver. In my family, when you got the necklace, not only was it a sign of adulthood and acceptance, but also a sign of trust and love. Added to those values, it was also given to me by my mother when she knew her time on earth was over. I remember my mother handing me the necklace and telling me how much she loved me, how proud she was of me while I sat beside her hospital bed and cried. I kept the necklace in my drawer because it hurt too much to see it. The sight of the necklace reminded me of my mother in her last moments, and it always made me cry. I opened the jewellery box, tears already blurring my vision. As the memories flooded my mind, along with fear, I was greeted with an empty box. My heart dropped to my stomach. I couldn't hear or see anything for a good minute. The only thing I could hear was the sound of my ears ringing. My mind was a mess. I called David in a daze. He picked up the phone on the last ring and answered with a groggy hello. In my daze, I forgot about the time difference. It must have been the way I said hello back to my husband that made him realize that something was incredibly wrong. David, I can't believe it. The necklace, it's gone. It's not in the box.
What? What happened? Are you okay?
No, I don't know what to do. The necklace, the one my mother gave me, it's missing. I can't even think straight right now.
Take a deep breath, Jess. I'm so sorry this happened. Just remember, it's just a material possession. What matters most is the love and memories you shared with your mother.
I know, but it held so much value for me. It was a symbol of trust and love passed down through many generations. And now it's gone. I can't help but feel like I've lost a piece of my mother.
I understand, sweetheart. Losing something so meaningful is incredibly difficult. But remember, the love and bond you shared with your mother will always be with you.
Thanks, baby. I just feel so lost right now. I don't know where to begin looking or how to come to terms with this.
We'll figure it out. Let's start by contacting the authorities and reporting the theft. And remember, I'm here for you every step of the way. We'll support each other through this.
I'm so grateful for you, babe. Knowing that you're by my side gives me strength. I'll call you again when I have some more news. Having been consoled a little, the panic I was feeling turned into rage. I began to tear through my room looking for that necklace. When I didn't find it, I began to turn over the entire house for it. I asked Sarah if she had seen it, and she scoffed at me. She said she didn't even know I had jewellery. I asked her if she had anyone over or if she noticed anything missing from my room, but she gave me a shrug and said no before walking back into her room. Since Sarah had denied seeing it, I assumed we got robbed. I quickly lodged a complaint with the police. They promised to do everything within their capacity to help me find it. They advised me to install cameras in and around the house. I got it done immediately. I set up cameras on our front door and in my room. The next few days, I was inconsolable. David tried his best to make me feel better. He even had a bouquet and chocolates delivered to me to cheer me up. Sarah, on the other hand, couldn't have cared less. Whenever I was slow to complete some of the household chores, she would complain and make a big deal about it. Eventually, her attitude towards me got too much, so I left the house and stayed with one of my friends for a couple of days. David must have spoken to Sarah because she texted me an apology, so I decided to go back home. Sarah was not there when I got back home, which I was grateful for. I went into my room and was once again greeted with that same feeling of dread. Once again, my room had been tampered with. I went back into my jewellery box and found even more jewellery missing. This time it was the promise ring David had given me when we were in college, the earrings my dad gifted me on my 21st birthday, and the bracelet my best friend gifted me. This time, instead of feeling scared, I felt angry. In my gut, I absolutely believed that my sister-in-law, Sarah, had everything to do with my stolen jewellery. I gave her the benefit of the doubt last time, but this time it was inexcusable. I was consumed by anger and a burning desire for justice. Sarah had not only stolen my precious jewellery, but she had also violated my trust. I couldn't let her get away with it. It was time for me to take matters into my own hands and teach her a lesson she would never forget. First, I needed evidence. I carefully reviewed the footage from the security cameras I had installed in the house. After hours of watching the recordings, I finally found what I was looking for. The cameras captured Sarah sneaking into my room and rummaging through my jewellery box. The footage was crystal clear, leaving no room for doubt. I saved the evidence, ensuring I had copies backed up in multiple secure locations. Armed with the evidence, I devised a plan that would not only expose Sarah's true nature, but also make her pay for her actions. I decided to confront her directly, to make her face the consequences of her betrayal. I wanted her to know that I was onto her and that she couldn't fool me any longer. Before I did anything I planned, I called David. I didn't think it would be fair to blindside him with my plan. Plus, I believed that he had a right to know what his sister was up to and how she had finally crossed the last line with me. David, there's something I need to tell you. I have evidence and proof of what Sarah has done.
What do you mean? What did you find?
I reviewed the security camera footage and it's clear as day. Sarah went into our room and stole the necklace, David. She betrayed us.
Are you sure? I can't believe she would do something like that.
I have the evidence. I didn't want to act without telling you first. I need to confront her and make her face the consequences of her actions. She can't get away with this.
I understand. It's heartbreaking, but we can't let her continue deceiving us. I'm with you on this.
Thanks. Your support means everything to me.
Absolutely. We'll handle the situation with strength and integrity. Gather all the evidence you have and we'll figure out the best way to approach her.
Feeling empowered by David's support, I decided it was time to put my plan into action. I texted Sarah and asked her to meet me in a neutral location, a nearby cafe. I wanted a public place where she wouldn't feel comfortable causing a scene. When she arrived, I could see the surprise and unease in her eyes. She knew something was up, but she had no idea what was about to unfold. As we sat down, I maintained my composure, refusing to show any signs of weakness or vulnerability. I looked Sarah straight in the eye and calmly confronted her with the evidence. I told her I had video footage of her stealing my jewelry from my room. The shock on her face was priceless, yet she composed herself and took a defensive stance. Sarah, I have undeniable proof of what you did. I saw you on the security camera taking my jewelry. Please just admit it. Jessica, you must be mistaken. I would never do such a thing. You're being careless and accusing me falsely. I have video evidence. It clearly shows you taking the necklace from the drawer. I trusted you. This is how you repay me? I can't believe you're accusing me. Maybe you misplaced it or forgot where you put it? Don't blame me for your own carelessness. If you can't admit the truth, then I will be forced to take further action. Believe what you want, but don't expect me to take responsibility for something I didn't do. You're making a big mistake here. But I wasn't done yet. I knew that true revenge required more than just exposing her deeds. I wanted her to experience the pain and anguish she had made me feel. I decided to take legal action against her, pressing charges for theft and filing a police report with the evidence I had gathered. I contacted a trusted lawyer and provided him with the evidence, explaining the full extent of Sarah's actions and the emotional toll it had taken on me. With the evidence in hand, my lawyer helped me file a police report, detailing the theft of my precious jewelry and presenting the video footage as proof of Sarah's involvement. The police took the matter seriously and initiated an investigation into the case. In the meantime, my lawyer and I prepared for the legal proceedings. We compiled a comprehensive case against Sarah, including witness testimonies from friends and family who were aware of our strained relationship and her past rude behavior towards me. These testimonies further supported the notion that Sarah had the motive to steal from me and had a history of ill will towards me. During the legal process, we presented our case in court with the evidence, including the clear video footage of Sarah stealing from my jewelry box. The prosecution argued that she unknowingly stole and tried to shift blame onto me. Sarah, with her lawyer, tried to minimize her involvement and portray herself as a victim. However, the undeniable video evidence contradicted her claims, and my lawyer effectively challenged her narrative, highlighting the ongoing mistreatment I endured. Eventually, Sarah broke down and admitted to selling the jewelry for money. I couldn't hold back my tears. It felt like a part of me was lost. I wanted revenge, but I chose to let the court decide instead. Sarah was found guilty of theft by the court. The judge emphasized the seriousness of her actions and the betrayal of trust. As part of her sentence, Sarah had to do community service and repay me double the value of the stolen jewelry. It was a reminder that her behavior had consequences. Though the amount was significant, it didn't fully console me. I left the courtroom, hoping that Sarah had learned something from this experience. However, she instead took to social media and began to write long posts about how I ruined her life. She wrote that I was careless with my precious items, and if they really meant that much to me, I should have locked them in a safe. She called me a bunch of explicit names and said that she wished her brother had married someone else. She made fun of me for breaking down over the jewelry and told me to get over the emotions that were attached to my things. Initially, I simply let go of the feelings I had when I saw her posts. I thought that she was probably just angry that her actions actually caught up to her this time and was simply lashing out now. However, my last straw was when she decided to insult my family in one of her posts. I decided enough was enough. I was going to exact some more revenge because clearly a lawsuit and a filed record were not enough to get Sarah to change her behavior toward me. It was time to expose her true nature to the world and make her face the consequences of her actions. I decided to gather all the evidence I had of her mistreatment, her theft, and her attempts to blame me and share it with the world. I documented every detail of Sarah's actions, from her disrespectful behavior to her betrayal of stealing and selling my jewelry. I included screenshots of her hurtful social media post and the video footage of her stealing. With my post prepared, I anonymously shared it on a popular online community forum, exposing Sarah's true nature. Sarah's actions were met with widespread shock and disgust. People were horrified by her behavior and how she tried to blame me for her actions. The post went viral, and her online reputation quickly crumbled as more and more people learned about her true character. Former friends and colleagues shared their own negative experiences with her, which exposed a pattern of toxic behavior. The consequences extended beyond social media. Her workplace discovered her misconduct. They launched an internal investigation which revealed more instances of her unprofessional behavior. As a result, she was fired, losing her job and professional standing. The revelations had a lasting impact. Mutual friends distanced themselves from her. They did not want to be associated with someone that lacked integrity. Sarah found herself isolated and without support. My husband, David, managed to get off from work and came back home to be with me.
Sarah, I can't believe you would betray our trust like this. You've crossed a line that I never thought you would. Pack your things and leave. I don't want to see you again.
David, please, I didn't mean for things to turn out this way. I'm sorry, I really am.
Sorry isn't enough. Your actions have consequences, and now you have to face them. I hope you find a way to change and grow from this, but for now it's time for you to go.
Please, David, give me another chance.
No, Sarah, this is where we part ways. Take care of yourself.
I watched Sarah sob loudly but felt no compassion toward her. She had done so much harm to me and felt no empathy towards my suffering, and so I felt the same for her. My husband escorted her out of our home and wished her luck for her future. In the end, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction and relief. Seeing Sarah face the consequences of her actions brought closure to the pain she had caused. My husband, David, stood by me throughout the whole matter, supporting me every step of the way. His unwavering love and understanding gave me strength. With Sarah's betrayal behind us, we could finally move forward, leaving the past where it belongs.